And as promised, we have here Mariy Heletiy, the Deputy Chief of Party at the USAID, to help us understand the situation that is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Welcome to TVP World.
Good evening.
So, a UN resolution recently commemorating the 1995 Srebrenica massacre has ruffled some feathers. Now, we do see the separatist rhetoric on the rise, and some even going as far as saying that this resolution might bring an end to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Can you help us unpack a little bit? Why is this such a hot topic issue?
Such a solution or recognition of genocide in Bosnia by Serbs, it's a big issue because Bosnian Serbs and Serbs in Serbia, they do not recognize it as genocide. They believe that the killings happened, but they do not want to accept it as a genocide. This resolution means for Serbia and for Bosnian Serbs as a big issue because they need to accept it, that they committed this genocide against Bosnians. In addition, they also need to recognize that their killed children and their population has somehow do some attempts to help Bosnians to forgive this. And it is a big issue. Therefore, all discussions which we hear from Dodik and also from Serbia, from Serbian President Vučić, that they do not want to accept it. And for them, it's a big issue, and they would like to do everything possible that this resolution is not voted.
All right, that actually makes sense because this rhetoric, like you said, will basically indicate that Serbia has indeed committed genocide. Do you think that this resolution is as divisive as the separatists would like people to believe?
My understanding is that it's not only issue of resolution. It is an issue of some changes which happening in Bosnia. For example, recently, Republika Srpska adopted law on public property, and it says that all property belongs to Bosnia, to Republika Srpska. This law was vetoed by High Representative Schmidt, who said that such property belongs to all Bosnian people. And it's also another topic which is very important for Republika Srpska, and it's another topic why Republika Srpska would like to actually declare independence and join Serbia.
So it does look like this region does have a lot of conflict. And of course, it was being held together by the Dayton Agreement. So can you help us understand how the structure of Bosnia and Herzegovina as established by this agreement impacted this political stability?
The problem that Bosnia is not stable because it is like composed of three different entities. First, it's Croatian entity, Croatian part, which populated mostly by the Croats. Bosniak's part, it's Serbs or Croats who became Muslim many years ago, centuries ago. And Serbian part has some independence, some not independence, but it has some additional powers. It is kind of autonomy. And actually, because of this division, they have three different head of these structures, entities, which creates kind of presidium of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Plus, they have high representative from international community who can veto, who can adopt some regulation for Bosnia. Because of this complicated structure, actually, Bosnia never became as a united country. If you go to Bosnia, you will see that people still do not talk to each other because of this of war, because of killings each other. Not only Serbs committed crimes, but also Bosniaks committed crimes, Croats committed crimes. They have this history, and they still did not reconcile. Therefore, the country doesn't function as a unified country. And plus, we have this Serbian part, which is led by Milorad Dodik, who is very big friend of Vladimir Putin. And actually, my opinion, he is under influence of Vladimir Putin. When we talk about a situation in Bosnia, we have to understand that except of the conflicts, except of the issues which Bosnia has, Also, Russia would like to destabilize region. Bosnia is the easiest way, Bosnia or Kosovo, and Republika Srpska is the best way to destabilize the region, because Serbia, I don't think they would like to have some conflict on their territory. Plus, Vucic is kind of experienced politician. He would not allow this. But Dodik, he might follow some suggestions from Putin and can do some steps which actually lead to destabilization.
Right, so like I mentioned, this is a very, very divided country. And I'm also wondering, how could the potential dissolution of Bosnia and Herzegovina affect the stability in the whole Balkan region?
I think it is a big issue for region, because as you imagine, Bosnia, it's like Republika Srpska is not something like connected to Serbia. It is inside Bosnia, and basically, if they announce independence, it will be entity which is like inside country. It's first. Second, it's again a changing of the international borders. After discussion, after such bloody war, it would be difficult to explain international community why such changes are happening, and it would require some steps from international community, as you already show in your that US would not tolerate it. I assume that other countries also do not tolerate it, but the problem is that there is no solution how to react on such behavior. Imagine that one day Bosnia decides to announce independence. They, of course, will hold a referendum, and referendum will be for independence and for joining Serbia, because a majority of population support independence and joining Serbia. And therefore, it will lead to destabilization, plus it will affect an entire international system, because we have war in Ukraine, we have wars in other regions, and we will have some instability in Balkans.
All right, you brought up a very interesting point here. You said that this might affect the international system. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, the U.S. Embassy came out and said that they will not tolerate this situation. So my question would be, what are the geopolitical interests of these international players like the EU, Russia, and the United States, and especially in this region, that they have such a strong opposition to it?
But basically, stability in Balkans is stability in Europe. If you have stable Balkans, no conflicts, no wars, you can be more or less safe with security of Europe. Moreover, Bosnia received already future perspective of the EU membership. It means that stable Bosnia could be integrated in the European Union. It more means that the region will be stable and Europe will not need to deal with the conflicts which might happen on this territory. If not, then any conflict which appears on this territory, I assume if independence happen, Bosnia will act somehow and international community will act somehow. It means that Bosnia will not integrate to European Union, and it means that it will be constant instability in the region.
Right, like you mentioned, this might cause an instability and that might bleed into the stability of Europe. But again, you also mentioned that there doesn't seem to be much that the Western world is doing. Do you think there's actually a possible solution or anything that could be done to maybe stabilize this region? Do you think perhaps this resolution is a little bit too divisive?
My understanding is that in general, Balkans need more attention because we have such divided Bosnia. We have very divided Kosovo. It is necessary to work with different parties in Bosnia and in Kosovo, like with Serbs in Bosnia, with Croats and Muslims, and somehow try to build understanding and build the bridges between or among these communities. Because now sometimes they do not communicate even with each other. Also, it is important to understand what still concerns they have, because we know a lot of war criminals were prosecuted and taken in for accountability. But still, there are a lot of people who were never prosecuted. And I assume that some people, even sometimes Serbs, they have some concerns. Why they have to stay in such country? Maybe some relatives were killed by others who were not prosecuted. It's necessary to work more closely with these issues and try to understand what is bothering all these sides and how it's possible to resolve it. Unfortunately, it will require a lot of effort, but you can't resolve conflict in a very simple way if it's conflict like with a lot of killings,
Right.
with many years, which was happening like for centuries.
Definitely. Like you mentioned, understanding is the first step towards resolution. So thank you so much for the information and helping us understand the situation. Appreciate it.